XRP. I'm more secure than you'll ever be. I'm faster, I'm cheap and my name is XRP. I'm faster, I'm more secure than you'll ever be. I'm faster, I'm cheap and my name is XRP.
Hello everyone, this is Economy. You wish. Hi Raymond, long time no see. Timmy, Donnerstag wäre es auf Deutsch, aber bist auch heute gern willkommen. Hello everyone, let's get started. 30 people online, a few said hello. I literally have no plan today. So let's see what's going on. Until I see some questions and discussion topics, I let my mind ponder a little bit. I felt hold on. I have no financial interests. I have no sponsored links and I don't want no donations, please. And some administrative thing for next week. Next week I'm on vacation. Unfortunately, it's during the Swell week, but for the English live stream it won't matter anyway, because the next week's live stream would be before Swell. So you guys won't miss anything. The German speaking live stream, they might miss some interesting topics which pop up as well. Okay, back to my hunch. By the way, something I really liked, I think it was last live stream, sorry, when I was yawning. My wife was watching about 20 minutes of the live stream and she saw me yawning once or twice and then she brought me coffee. Wasn't that nice? And on Sunday she helped me synchronize those two lists. The Ripple Net partner banks with the top 100 banks in the world. So she's supporting me quite a bit in my XRP thingies. But let's go back to my hunch I had. I think it's not really a tension which is currently in the community, but I think many have kind of at least a feeling, maybe it's more hope, I don't know, that something will happen soon. And one thing I maybe could, why am I not invited to Swell? I really don't know. I don't know. But I mean, come on, Heiko. All the sessions we will have online anyway. And for the stuff we have in between the sessions, we have those YouTubers which hopefully will cover all those other interesting topics around Swell. However, coming back to my hunch, that many people think something will happen soon. I personally believe that we will not see a spike in price due to Swell, neither before this week, nor during, nor very shortly after. Even if there may be a huge announcement. Why? Because we had like 2 years now almost daily huge news, and the price is still sleeping somewhere. But it's interesting this like how the tension, maybe it's tension, is being. Can you hear me, by the way? I really hope so. Can you give me a thumbs up that you can hear me? I'm talking and babbling and have no clue if you really can hear me. I'm waiting for the thumbs up. Might be some... Yes, okay, great. This feeling that something might happen I had since about a year ago, about 3 times already. End of last year, November, December, and then around February, March, and again in end of June, July, in that area. And as we all know, nothing has happened. What question to you guys: if you were one of those YouTubers who could go to Swell, what would be your success story, the dream of your success story you would bring back? I certainly know mine, but I want to hear from you guys. What would you call a success bringing back home to your followers? Moorish, I don't, maybe a little bit FOMO, but I mean, I really don't think. Timmy Frocker has an interesting question regarding, Timmy Frocker, are you talking about this ODL transactions being checked from Alex Cobb and the guy who he has his script from? I honestly don't think it's batched payments. That would be called DODL, DODL, delayed on-demand liquidity. But what I could think of is that they're actually testing kind of a resistance on how much they can put through the system without really moving the price, to get kind of like this pressure point. On a weapon you would call it trigger point, on a car on the clutch. When you leave the clutch, you have this point where it's kind of working like a brake. Maybe they're trying to find that sweet spot, I don't know how to call it. Darius, I'm still pretty confident that we will see 4 digits quite soon. Though if it happens really by the end of the year, I don't know, but it will be very, very, very soon. It won't take half a year anymore. I'm 100% sure. Even more so after doing a second time the analysis. I did that comparison between RippleNet customers, RippleNet banks customers and top 100 banks a few months back, but basically I didn't publish my findings then, and that is actually being supported by the deal Finastra made with Ripple, that basically all Finastra customers, which there are 9,000 of, who are using Finastra's solution for payments, can use RippleNet, so that we can have the potential for 10% of Swift's market share. Of that I have literally no clue. Now, about the hold up, I still don't know what's the hold up. But actually I had two hunches what could be the reason for the hold up. One guy, I think it was even today, commented on one of my videos that Ripple may be alleged of price manipulation if it really goes up like a rocket from 30 cents to, I don't know, $500 or so. And that's something I could understand, that people around the world couldn't understand, that even though it's actually quite a legal procedure with these buy and sell walls, there is nothing illegal in that. It's just so that basically only few could or would understand the workings of that process. However, I could believe that Ripple has been making sure with the regulators and everything around the world that those institutions are aware that it will come like that, and that they basically have been preparing somehow for about a year for such a price surge. That's one thing I could believe could be the reason for the delay. And the other thing, I forgot, but maybe it'll come back. I think it was right. Maybe, I mean, as you all know, we don't really have proof, but basically all knowledgeable people tell banks cannot hold digital assets. Now, we all also know that if high value payments go through the systems, we need market makers which are potent enough. I mean, with a stash of hundreds of millions of dollars, and even a rich person might not have so many dollars aside to be able to trade XRP all day long to make it liquid enough on the market. However, those banks from the CLS groups, that's the banking group which actually does the settlement of the Swift system. As you all know, Swift is just a payment, but the settlement is like on a separate rail, and the separate rail is done via netting between those CLS banks. And I could think that Ripple has been talking to at least, maybe not all, but some of those CLS banks, if they're not interested in actually helping doing market making, because they surely have enough money laying around. And if that hunch is actually correct, that would basically mean that those banks, because they cannot hold XRP, that they would need to create like new entities which are not banks but financial institutions which are allowed to hold XRP. Actually, I think David Schwartz mentioned something like that in one of his threads on, I don't know, XRP forum or somewhere, that this may happen because banks are actually not allowed to hold XRP. But if there is to be big institutions with enough money to be able to buy the XRP in order to pay out the appropriate fiat, then we really need the big guys in here. And maybe that was one of the reasons which was responsible for the hold up. But I mean, you all know, we don't know. We can, well, I mean, check my video from Sunday. I mean, a year ago I proposed 1% of SWIFT would move us easy to $589. 1%, easy. So multiple banks, I mean, that's the reason why I still think in 4 digits will drive us higher. George mentions that not all corridors are open, but actually one important corridor opened today, and a second leg for the Euro corridor, because Bitstamp is also already offering Euro, I think. David C. Well, basically, no one has to pay billions to raise the price. That's also something I tried to explain in my video, I think, from Sunday, because I mean, and I think I made the comparison with Apple stock. If you buy Apple stock today at $200, did you make a loss? No, you didn't. You paid $200 per Apple share. However, compared with 15 years ago, maybe at 15 years ago, Apple stock or shares were at $10. So if you take that difference, there is a difference, but it's not a loss. The guy who is buying Apple stock today for $200 will still make a profit, pending the stock will rise. And those market makers, and that's what I showed in the video from Sunday, even when they do just like, I don't know, 0.05% profit on each trade, or less even, they make a living. Frank Sparano, I don't think that it's one of the ultimate goals to make XRP a world reserve currency. I know that some people found that in one of the PDFs from Ripple, but I did a research upon what are the characteristics of a reserve currency, and one of the characteristics is it must be more or less a stable currency. And XRP will never be a stable currency. It's a bridge, and the bridge has to, and I repeat that, and Let that sink in, guys. A bridge has to be able to assume any price it requires in order to bridge the thing it tries to bridge. That's also one of the reasons why it will never be pegged to gold or any other thing. It will be just a risk, and we cannot have a risk in this idea of a bridge asset. Many people still don't get it. XRP make you rich. Quantum computer will most likely not in due time affect any of the cryptocurrencies. I'm pretty sure about that. And one of the reasons is quantum computing can find let me phrase it like that. Quantum computing is good in simulating stuff like weather, how living organisms develop, stuff like that, traffic. But in actually calculating one particular outcome for something, that's something they're not really good in. What they could do, quantum computers, if they had basically all the hashes from all passwords from a website, let's say Coinbase or so, 30 million customers' passwords hashed with a certain algorithm, then it could be that a quantum computer could actually figure out this mechanism behind the hashing algorithm. But for that, they're already now working on quantum proof encryption. So there, I'm really not worried. And after all, basically, when it comes to hacking a website, the computer or the server running a website is still ordinary technology. He will not be able to work with those qubit stuff coming from the quantum computer. It's like, I don't know how I could explain that. It's a total different system. Now I lost where I was. Let me check back. King 1969. I don't know what news will be revealed as well. I really don't know. I also don't want to speculate about that because it's really pointless. XRP make you rich? You mean the recent surge in price? Why XRP didn't surge? I mean, I still believe XRP price is manipulated. I mean, everyone a bit sincere and a bit sober in his mind will tell you with all this good news, if XRP was a security, like a share, a stock, a company share, it would be easily in the one-digit dollar range. Easy, super easy. Summer air. That's an insider. Butterfly trader knows what I mean by it. No, I really mean 4 digits. Think a little bit about what I mean with 4 digits. Actually, I tweeted an old video where I put closed caption today. Maybe it dawns on you what 4-digit means. Maurice King, this stablecoin thing proposed functionality enhancement is just a proposal. Until that's coming live on XRP Ledger, it'll take at least, 12 to 18 months more. Pre-allocation theory. I was asked that in a comment on YouTube. I think it's pointless. And I think I even made a video about the pre-allocation. And I showed that neither percentage-wise nor in let's say discrete values of escrow being pre-allocated, it makes sense. Let's say, and I think we have a low price, and if you say some company receives, then at a low price you could only distribute the escrow in discrete values, let's say 500 million, 500 million, 5 billion, something like that. Okay. However, if you do it at a low price, at the percentage level, then you would distribute 5 or 20% to certain companies. Okay, now if the price is high of XRP, then those discrete values, the 500 millions, would be suddenly only little percentage. However, on the other hand, the percent, if you decide to do it on a percentage basis, those companies would get billions, which is also kind of stupid. So it just doesn't work for me. It's totally illogical. I really don't see how that could. The only thing about escrow, what I believe, is that there surely is some not cooperation, but some agreement between the central banks and Ripple about the order of magnitude of escrow they can and should and will release in the future. And as we all know, the escrow wallet has a multi-signature. I think it's 8 signatures they need in order to be able to send XRP from that wallet, and I think they need at least 4, maybe even 5 signatures for a transaction to be validated properly. And I'm pretty sure that those entities having a signature are well chosen. Hallo Richard. Sorry, hast du jetzt gesehen. Aurelius, no, I don't know anything about SPI. Actually, I was asking in my WhatsApp group. There was one guy posting a photo from Fiat Leaks. I never check Fiat Leaks because, don't get me wrong, but for me that's too complicated, that page. And I really don't want to spend too much time trying to understand it. Anyway, that guy thought that from the Asian region there is quite some movement on Fiat Leaks, and then I asked him, but still no SPI volume. I literally have no idea what's going on there. Darius, 4 digits will be in less than 12 months. Most likely even in less than 6 months. I mean, why wait? Why wait? Why wait? Do you know? I mean, I made, I don't know, about 2 months back a video about cost comparison, like valuing compared to a high price. I wanted to show that one of Galgitron's arguments is basically not really a valid argument, that the costs to pay out retail hodlers at a high price would be too high. But the current system costs about 1.6 trillion a year. 1.6 trillion. And there are 2 models, actually 3 models, but 2 important, like the ripple net cost reduction by using still the Nostros. That's, I think, if I remember, around 30% cost reduction, cost saving. And then using XRP on top of that with high volatility, which would give us an additional 10% cost saving. And if XRP had low volatility, we would gain an additional 30% cost saving on those 1.6 trillion. Now do your math. That's 1.6 trillion, and 30% additional cost saving. That's 500 billion saved. 500 billion could the world save by using XRP. Don't tell me no country or central bank boss would want that. Don't tell me. I mean, there's literally no reason for that. No reason. XRP make you rich. As I told before, that I think XRP price is manipulated. Maybe they really try to show that the price can be held stable. I don't know. One thing I have never, ever saw someone talking about is the following. The guy which basically helped me do my own research on XRP was the Bearable Guy 123 Decoder, the guy who made videos, the first guy who made videos on YouTube. And he kind of understood his videos as kind of trying to help us to understand the riddles Bearable Guy 123 was putting out there. And in one of those videos, Bearable Guy Decoder had a picture from a group of people, and he asked, "Who is Bearable Guy Decoder?" Bearable Guy 123 Decoder. And he had to take that picture off, like after, I don't know, I took a screenshot, but I never really shared it. I was asking my followers at that time, should I share it anyway or not? And basically all agreed that it would be, I mean, if he had to take it down because certain people were not happy with that picture being shared, then we should respect that, and that's what I did. However, David Schwartz himself posted the very same picture about I don't know, half year, 8 months, 9 months, something like that back. And David Schwartz himself, he was on that picture, by the way. And then someone, I don't remember who it was, but someone actually told me the background of that picture. And the background of that picture was that I don't know if it was 2016 maybe, there used to be, or early 17, there used to be like a bot camp somewhere where bot developers, I don't know what it was, if Ripple invited them or if it was a general bot developer camp or something. However, the fact that David Schwartz was there and that obviously that bearable guy 123 decoder most likely was there in that bot camp lets me, I mean, it's not really a confirmation from my hunch, but it could be that they actually were trying to figure out how they could control the price legally. I mean, if you have an intelligent bot who, I mean, just a hunch, every time the price tries to spike, to surge up, but your bot basically sells then at a lower price and pulling the price down again, it will just not rise. And I mean, there is nothing, I wouldn't see, as long as you really sell your stuff and don't, and you're not just spoof or wash trading, I really don't see why this should be illegal. I mean, the difference between this approach and spoof and wash trading is spoof and wash traders put such orders into the order book, but just before they're executed, they cancel them. So they don't really have their orders executed. So they're just kind of hyping you into what may happen soon. But just before it happens, they cancel all those orders. And as long as you fulfill those orders, I really don't see why that should be illegal. Maybe they're doing something like that, I really don't know. Stephen Johnson is asking the difference between me and Galgitron's view. Well, Galgitron believes in a small price rise because he cannot understand the buy and sell wall. I mean, he understands it on a logical level, but he believes that it will not work in the real world. I, however, showed in my video from Sunday that the slow price rise also will not work because it will take us years to get in the 3 or 4 digits areas, which will eventually only allow high value payments to go through the system. And I recall it's not called Internet of Small Value, which is the vision of Ripple. It's called Internet of Value. Otherwise they would have a vision like we're the company who will make micropayments possible. And that's a different story. Okay, so far about the different views. I think in a steep price rise in Galgitron, in a slow, and now now your question is who will support the buy walls? Well, That's a good question. Who will support the buy walls? Because for those buy walls, you actually need to put the money in for the amount of whatever you're hoping to be able to buy could come at that price or at that volume, so to speak, and that will need potent institutions or so. But I mean, as you all know, Shane Ellis basically explained that this is totally legal, and that it's not really a big thing. It's totally possible. It is technically, and now who that will be, who will put those buy walls up, could be again the same people or institutions who they're looking for to make market making in the like millions areas. I mean, market makers up to, I don't know, 20, 30, maybe $50,000 chunks of XRP. I guess in that area we certainly have enough. There is enough bots around trading XRP and any other crypto. I don't think that this is a problem. But as soon as we are talking about millions, tens of millions, and possibly even hundreds of millions, then it's a different story, and that will need players which are potent enough with their fiat liquidity. Now, whom that will be, we can only have a guess. I had like almost a year ago, I issued that thought in one of my videos at that time that I still think today that maybe it's those CLS banks, because the CLS banks is I think 60 of the top tier 1 banks in the world, and those are the banks, the institutions who have that power with their money. Going exactly, it could be that we wait longer, but I mean, why? I mean, what I expect from Swell, I don't know. I said I don't want to go into speculation. I'm pretty sure there will be something interesting announced. Maybe something around retail customers. I really don't know. Maybe they show, I don't know, maybe they show this deal with MoneyGram and Visa, how that may affect the moving around of money worldwide. I mean, that's really, really a great announcement. Maybe it's something, I mean, YouTubers are not really the channel for the banks. I mean, banks will, the people from the banks maybe just of pure interest on the XRP price movement, they're following us YouTubers, but definitely not for having insights into, I don't know, mechanics and stuff like that. I mean, for that we just don't know enough. And I mean, any bank interested in that, they call Ripple up and talk to Miguel Villas, what's your plan? And then they know. They don't need us YouTubers for that. So that's actually quite an I have been asking that, I think, last week. What do you think that could mean, that they actually invited a few people? A butterfly trader, well, is asking if the moon will be in steps or straight. I mean, I used to believe that it'll be pretty steep to 3 digits in one go. Could be, however, that we see before we see 4 digits, like 3 or 4 intermediate steps. But I don't think it'll take months. I think it'll take weeks. Weeks, literally weeks. Well, the Dark Knight, MoneyGram CEO putting pressure on Ripple. I mean, obviously he realizes that there is really a lot of cost to be saved. And I mean, whom doesn't want to save cost? Everyone. That's what I told before. Why would the world wait with XRP as bridge asset when pending the fact, let's assume the whole world uses XRP. Swift is being totally replaced by RippleNet. Hypothetical. The world could save 500 billion, additional billions on cost. I mean, literally, if you go to your central banker or your, I don't know, financial treasury department, something guy in your government, and you tell him that your country could save, if it's a big country, I don't know, maybe 50 billions, if it's US or Germany or something like that, because this 500 billion would be kind of distributed. I'd assume that the G20 alone might make, I don't know, 350 to 400 billion of those 500 billion. And if you divide 400 billion by 20, you have some smaller ones, some bigger ones, so you end up around between 20 and 50 billion, which each country could save. Go to the financial advisor from Donald Trump and tell him, hey, we could save 50 billion. We could put that money into building the wall to Mexico. Whatever. I mean, stupid. I don't believe that I want them to build that wall, but just for you to know that there is interest in other markets to have more money. Gaurav, I don't think that Bitcoin has anything to do with XRP price suppression. I mean, why would they be interested in XRP? They want Bitcoin to surge and not XRP to put down. Mr. FOMO Sumo, I have a video about Jane Ellis theory. If you're not knowing what it is, check my YouTube channel page. There is a playlist, my most important XRP videos, and one of them is called the Jane Ellis theory. No, I still didn't check, Richard, these new features on Live Coin Watch. Colorado. Did I cover so far all questions? Those I missed, please forgive me. There were quite some questions today. XRP make you rich. Why is asking why the XRP price could be manipulated. I don't know. Really, I really don't know. And I mean, one important thing to understand, and this is really crucial, guys, the money paid out to us retail investors once XRP hits a high price is money which it didn't really leave the system, because it came in from some players who bought the XRP from you, and those players will do their stuff with those XRP. And even if they just make, I don't know, 0.05% profit per trade, they will do so many trades a year that they make millions, hundreds of millions. I recall in the video from Sunday I showed that if a market maker would make 0.05% profit on a 50 million trade of XRP, like he would be buying or selling XRP in the value of 50 million, and he would make 0.05% profit. If he did that like 250 times a year, he'd earn about $6 million, okay? And that's quite a decent profit. And from my target 2 analysis, and I'm really, those new on my live stream today, 150 people live, wow, I'm totally impressed, thank you guys. I think that's the live stream with most viewers, 146 people watching me today. Anyway, now I lost my thread. I was talking about, damn it, what was I talking about? I was talking about the payments, those 6 million in target 2 analysis, which is also a video in my playlist, my most important XP videos. In that video, and don't get me wrong, target 2 and tips in Europe, they already are real-time gross settlement systems. The idea of using those figures is not that I want to propose that these systems will be replaced with a system using XRP. Not at all. It's really just to give us an idea of the amount of transactions, of the height of the transaction, in which level, if we're talking up to $50,000, up to $5 million or higher. It's just to get a feeling of the complexity of this whole basket of payments going through. And in this analysis I showed that in Europe alone, and I think it's not too wrong if we estimate that Europe is about 20% of the global trade. I guess that most of us would more or less agree. And so if we look at those figures, we can see that every 3 to 4 seconds, a 30 to 50 million payment goes through the system in average. And if not, then every 10 seconds 100 million payment. And if not, every 30 seconds a 300 million payment. And if not, every minute a €500 million payment. And if you're a market maker for these values, you're totally happy if you make like 1,000 parts of a percent profit per each trade, and you still make hundreds of millions throughout the years in the mass of liquidity you move back and forth, and that's maybe they need to build that system. That's what I basically told in the beginning. Maybe those CLS groups need to create those legal entities which are not banks in themselves, such that they actually can hold XRP. Maybe that's really the point why we're waiting, so that we have really those market makers, those potent market makers. That's one of the explanations I could have for this delay. I don't have an exit strategy, Kaigami design. That's something we only talk about in the US. The only thing about my exit strategy, I pay out what I need, and the rest I just leave it for appreciation. Thank you, Daryl. You're welcome. I'm hoping you're having a good time on my channel. I'm also recommending to all those new ones, I'm assuming are the ones being coming over or also watching Kevin Cage, because he basically shouted out to me in one of his last videos. I really propose to you guys, watch all those videos in the playlist on my YouTube channel, my most important XRP videos, because there's so many important information to understand in those videos, and I don't repeat them. I occasionally touch on the topics of them, but I will not repeat again and again what I've been talking about a year ago already, okay? Mr. FOMO Sumo, I don't know how they suppress the price, but I told before that, I mean, spoof and wash trading, basically, I think it's called wash trade, or spoof trading, I think it's called, where you put many sell orders or buy orders, kind of provoking in other traders the thought, there is a lot of demand or supply, because a lot of sell orders means many people want to sell, so you want to sell your XRP as well. And if there is a lot of buy orders, you think, there's a lot of people who want to get in, so you may want to buy as well. But actually, just before those orders are executed, they're cancelled. That's why it's illegal. But if those bots would actually do that, would actually buy and sell XRP, it'll be a totally legal thing. And maybe they're doing it somehow like that every time the price tries to rise, they tell their bots to sell XRP for a lower price to push it down again. I mean, I can literally not understand how Bitcoin, with literally no use case, soared 50% this year, and we basically dropped 50%. I mean, that's something I don't understand. Okay, we're getting close to the hour. Please let me know, y'all. Thanks, XRP Passionate. Let me know if I missed any question, any important question. I will address it now. In the meantime, while you rephrase your question and tag me so that I can really see it well. I want to thank you guys for your persistence, for your trust, for your confidence. Please don't lose faith. It'll come. I'm basically telling that in each and every of my live streams. I don't know why the hold up. I was pretty sure that a year ago we had the potential already for at least 1% of Swift's market share. I mean, did any one of you guys ever think about, in the past, Swift pre-GPI, we were talking about $5 trillion going through the Swift system. Now with Swift GPI, they say, I think with 80 billion, they're already, or like a really low number, I don't remember, I think it was 80 billion, and they say it's like 80% of the volume already. I mean, why would they only have like, I don't know, 0.5% or so of the volume they did have with the traditional Swift system? Could it be that so many RippleNet customers we are not aware of already conduct payments on RippleNet? And one factor which actually could support that in that's from my side, my last thing I want to tell. I told that already before in the interview of Brad Garlinghouse with Pompliano. He told about the KPIs, that they moved from contracts to installed contracts to transactions. And then he said, we're close to getting to 1 million. And then Pompliano asked him, what? Transactions per quarter, per month, per week? And I'm 100% sure it means per day. But because it's Nostros, like it uses the old kind of system, it's just a new rail between those accounts. We don't really feel anything on XRP price. But that might be one of the reasons why Swift is only showing like such a small volume at 80% of what they think they could cover. That's my only explanation. So basically no question anymore. Then I repeat again, next week no live stream, no English, no German. I really hope for everyone following as well, and please subscribe to the Ripple channel on YouTube, because they will, I think, or maybe there was even as well YouTube channel, I don't remember. There is a YouTube channel specifically with videos about all the sessions. Please subscribe to that channel and watch the interesting ones. And with that one, I wanna say goodbye. 150 viewers online, that's fantastic. And we hear us again in English in 2 weeks from now. Take care. Bye bye.